Hello students. So in the previous videos we have seen the first annexation of the Britishers, that means after the depletion of the system of dual government by the Warren Hastings, the Bengal came directly under the control of Britishers. So children, if we analyze the process of annexation of Indian states by the East India Company from 1757 to 1857, certain key aspects would emerge. Children, the company, it rarely launched a direct military attack on an unknown territory. They did not directly went and had a fight. They did not directly go and revolted with the territories. Instead, they used various diplomatic, political, economic methods to influence before annexing an Indian kingdom. पहले वो जिस भी टेरिटरी को कंट्रोल करना चाहते थे उसे अट्रैक्ट करते थे, इन्फ्लुएंस करते थे, एंड देन दे यूज्ड टू annex it. Then, after the Battle of Buxar, which took place in 1764, after this, children, the companies, they started appointed residents in Indian states. Why? Because we studied in Battle of Plassey and Buxar ki whomsoever they trusted and made the Nawab, they, after a few time, they started going against the Britishers. They started denying privileges and concessions. So to avoid such situations, what did company did? They started leaving their men, they started leaving their residents to live in the Indian states, which would provide them with every information of what is going on in the territory. There were political and commercial agents, and their job was to serve and further the interest of the company. Whatever the requirements, whatever the interest of the company were, these residents were required to serve company with those interests. Through these residents, children, the company officials begin interfering in the internal affairs of the states. क्योंकि residents were living within the state, अब कोई हमारी state में रह रहा है तो उसे उसकी पूरी information है. So what did these residents did? They started interfering in the internal matters of the states. They tried to decide who was to be successor to the throne, and they was to be appointed in administrative post. So now, children, having achieved the control over the Bengal, the English East India Company embarked upon policy of territorial expansion. What did they did? They started acquiring the Indian states through various policies. They launched various policies which helped them to annex, to acquire the Indian territories. Let's see what were the various policies were. The first policy amongst all of them was subsidiary alliance policy. I repeat, the policy was subsidiary alliance policy. Now what was it? Let's see. So one thing to remember is subsidiary alliance was introduced by Marcus Wellesley, who was the Governor General of India from 1798 to 1805. Its purpose was to gain control over large tracts of India without direct wars or spending money on maintaining troops. इस policy को implement करने का motive क्या था? Without fighting, without revolts, gaining the control over the Indian ट्रेड्स. नाउ लेट्स सी कि सब्सिडरी अलायंस में ब्रिटिशर्स को स्टेट्स कैसे मिलती थी बिना लड़ाई करे. सो द इंडियन रूलर्स, दोज हु एक्सेप्टेड द सब्सिडरी अलायंस, हैज टू डिसबैंड देयर आर्मी एंड कीप ब्रिटिश फोर्सेस विद इन देयर टेरिटरी. सबसे पहला पॉइंट क्या था? द वन हु एक्सेप्ट्स द सब्सिडरी अलायंस सिस्टम, द रूलर whosoever agrees to follow subsidiary alliance system, he has to leave, he has to dispense his army and has to keep the British army in his empire. They had to pay for the maintenance of the British troops, and these forces were supposed to protect them from internal and external dangers. थिंग वॉज कि जैसे वो अपनी आर्मीज को मेंटेन कर रहे थे, इन दी सेम मैनर दे हैव टू मेंटेन दी आर्मीज, बट अब वो अपनी आर्मीज मेंटेन नहीं करेंगे. वो किसके ऊपर एक्सपेंडिचर करेंगे? ब्रिटिश आर्मीज के ऊपर. एंड दीज आर्मीज वर गोइंग टू प्रोटेक्ट देम फ्रॉम द एक्सटर्नल एंड इंटरनल डेंजर्स. एंड इन केस इंडियन रूलर्स फेल टू मेक द fail to pay the payment for the maintenance, either the whole or the part of their territory was given to the British as penalty. तो क्या था इस सिस्टम में कि यू हैव टू कीप, अगर आप सब्सिडरी अलाइन सिस्टम को एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हो तो यू हैव टू लीव योर आर्मी, आप अपनी आर्मी नहीं रख सकते. यू हैव टू कीप ब्रिटिश आर्मी इन योर एम्पायर, ब्रिटिश की जो आर्मी है वो आपकी एम्पायर में रहेगी. यू हैव टू मेंटेन वॉट एवर द एक्सपेंडिचर्स आर फॉर द आर्मी, वॉट एवर द मेंटेनेंस इज रिक्वायर्ड, you have to bear all the expenses. And in case you are unable to bear the expenses, you are unable to pay the money for the maintenance of the army, so either your whole empire or a portion of your empire will directly go to the Britishers. तो इसमें ब्रिटिशर्स को क्या हुआ कि ना तो उन्हें कोई लड़ाई करनी पड़ी, नीदर दे हैव टू गो इनटू वॉर्स, नथिंग वाज टू बी डन. By doing nothing, ultimately they were getting the empire, they were getting the part of the Indian states. And one thing more, in this system children, the Indian rulers were also forced to keep a British officer, a British official at their court. British officials में से एक officer वहाँ पे रूलर के कोर्ट में रहेगा ही रहेगा. He had to expel all non-English foreigners from their states. Besides, the ruler had to surrender control of foreign affairs to the Britishers and agree to abide by the decisions of English East India Company. और एक चीज और थी कि there will be no agreement, there will be no interaction of the ruler with any of the foreign company. Whatever the interactions are to be done, it will be done by the Britishers, and whatever the decision will be taken by the Britishers, the ruler has to follow it. और अगर वो इसमें से किसी भी चीज को डिनाई करता है तो उसका एम्पायर किसके पास चला जाएगा? ब्रिटिशर्स के पास. नाउ चिल्ड्रन, इस सब्सिडरी अलाइन सिस्टम का there was some benefits to the Britishers. Let's see what were those benefits. The very first benefit was, on the pretext of protecting the state, the company could maintain a large standing army on the expenses of Indian princes. अब क्या था कि इन ऑर्डर, इन ल्यू ऑफ कि उन्हें हमने इंडियन रूलर्स को ब्रिटिशर्स ने एक ऑप्शन दे दिया, मतलब एक एग्रीमेंट दे दिया, एक प्रिटेंड कर रहे हैं कि इन फ्यूचर इफ़ योर स्टेट फेसेस एनी प्रॉब्लम तो वी आर गोइंग टू प्रोटेक्ट इट. और उसके बेसिस पे दे वर मेंटेनिंग देयर लार्ज आर्मीज, और उसके लिए उन्हें मनी भी एक्सपैंड नहीं करनी पड़ रही थी. सारा खर्चा कौन कर रहा था? इंडियन स्टेट. सो विद द मनी ऑफ इंडियन रूलर्स दे वर एक्सपैंडिंग देयर ओन army. The second advantage was that the territories were going into the hands of the Britishers without any wars, without any of the misconceptions. The Britishers, they were influencing the rulers and getting their territories from them. Then there were since there was advantages to the Britishers, so definitely there were disadvantages to the Indian states. Let's see what were they. The Indian rulers, they were deprived of opportunities to join hands against the company. Last में अभी मैंने क्या बताया था कि जो इंडियन रूलर्स थे they were not allowed to have any interaction with the foreign companies. तो इसलिए क्या हुआ कि इंडियन रूलर्स के पास अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ही नहीं थी कि वो ब्रिटिशर्स के अगेंस्ट जाकर किसी और फॉरेन कंपनी के साथ ट्रेड कर सके. दे लॉस्ट देयर डिसीजन मेकिंग राइट, क्योंकि सिंस एक ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल उनके कोर्ट में रह रहा था तो एवरी टाइम दे हैव टू फेस इंटरफेरेंस बाय दैट ब्रिटिश ऑफिशियल. And Indian rulers lost their administrative as well as financial independence. Being a ruler also, उनके पास कोई independence नहीं थी. Then children, the Nizam of Hyderabad in 1798 was the first to accept the subsidiary alliance. He gave the British the territories of Bellary and Chudapa. The Nawab of Awadh accepted this system in 1801 and he gave the territories of Rohilkhand, Zorakpur and the territories between the Ganga and Yamuna. Peshwa Bajirao II accepted the subsidiary alliance in 1802 and agreed to pay 26 lakh rupees a year. So many rulers, one after the other, accepted this system, but ultimately the system was depriving the independence to the Indian states and providing more and more benefits to the Britishers, which were not visible to the Indian rulers at the first sight, but later on they has to face lot of problems because of this system.